Well, for the first time in many weeks, Dolton trustees and Mayor Tiffany Henyard held a public meeting together, but not at Village Hall.
South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both governments.
Oh boy, things are getting wild in Dolton, Illinois. And it looks like Mayor Tiffany Henyard is at the center of the storm. You won't believe the drama that unfolded at a recent village trustee meeting. Picture this, a public official decked out in a solid gold blazer, all while begging for exactly $619. Yep, you heard that right, $619. And the way she went about it. Oh, it was a show, to say the least.
You are a clown.
We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing.
Why won't you step down?
So let's set the stage. Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who's been on everyone's radar for her controversial decisions in Dolton, showed up to this meeting with one thing on her mind, getting her money back. Now, why was she so desperate for $619? That's the question. But one thing's for sure, the way she went about trying to collect this money had the whole room talking. Tiffany, never one to shy away from the spotlight, strutted into the meeting in what can only be described as a solid gold blazer. Can we pause for a second to appreciate the drama of it all? Who shows up to a village meeting in a gold blazer? If you didn't know better, you'd think she was walking into a red carpet event, not a trustee meeting. But the blazer was just the beginning. Now, let's talk about what happened next. Tiffany starts in, not with an agenda about the village's finances, not with some grand plan to fix Dolton's budget crisis, but with a personal vendetta to get $619 back from Trustee Tammy Brown. Yes, you heard that right, she was publicly begging for $619. I want my money back. She practically shouted, making it clear she wasn't leaving without it. It was like watching someone argue over a restaurant bill, except it was happening in a formal government setting. And it wasn't just the begging that had people talking. Tiffany had receipts well, sort of. She claimed the $619 was supposed to come out of a fund for trustee training. Apparently, there's a $10,000 budget for training that nobody's seen, and Tiffany wanted her cut. To her, $619 was nothing compared to the tens of thousands she claimed the others were spending. It was a full-on showdown, with Tiffany demanding to know why her $619 wasn't being handed over.
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
But here's where it gets even juicier. Tiffany wasn't just asking for her money, she was calling out the village's entire financial situation. She accused the trustees of spending thousands on unnecessary things while essential services in the village were neglected. According to her, the village employees had been sitting around for months with nothing to do because their internet and email access had been cut off, and yet the trustees were still paying massive bills to an IT company. Tiffany was not having it. She pointed to an invoice from the trustees' lawyer, a whopping $136,580, and compared it to her measly $619. In her mind, the math just wasn't adding up. But it wasn't just the IT company and the lawyer that had Tiffany seething. She also took aim at the village's spending on lavish events, claiming that while basic services were being cut, the trustees were throwing extravagant parties and paying for unnecessary luxuries. Tiffany specifically pointed out the recent Valentine's Day event, which she said cost thousands of dollars in overtime for the police officers who were pulled away from their normal duties to serve as her personal security detail. We can't afford this, and yet they're throwing parties while the rest of us are trying to keep the village afloat, she said, her frustration clear.
A Dolton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her.
And speaking of police officers, Tiffany wasn't done with her criticism there either. She claimed that the trustees had been using the police force for their own personal agendas, having officers follow and harass their political enemies. According to Tiffany, the former police chief even admitted that he was ordered to target certain individuals by the trustees, which she said was a gross misuse of power. This isn't what the police are for, she said, shaking her head. They're supposed to protect and serve the community, not be puppets for the trustees. But Tiffany didn't stop with just accusations. She also made it clear that she had plans to clean up what she called the mess in Dolton. She announced that she intended to bring in outside auditors to go through the village's finances with a fine-tooth comb and expose any misuse of funds. We need transparency, she declared, promising that once she got to the bottom of the village's financial issues, she would make sure everyone responsible was held accountable. It was a bold statement, and one that surely rattled her opponents.
Because all this point the finger to Tiffany or allow me, I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
And she didn't stop there. Tiffany also accused the trustees of hiring her personal attorney as the village's official attorney. Oh yes, you heard that correctly. She straight up claimed that her personal lawyer had somehow managed to get hired by the village, making things look even more suspicious. It's like a soap opera, but instead of secret love affairs, we've got secret lawyer hirings. But let's get back to the $619. Tiffany wasn't going to let this go. She repeated it over and over, $619. It was as if that number had become her personal mantra. The way she kept bringing it up, you'd think the village's entire budget crisis was hinging on that $619. I want my money back, she demanded. Give me my $619. And the whole time, she was rocking that solid gold blazer like it was nobody's business.
And Micah, tonight was a special board meeting because business has not gotten done at 2 previous meetings. So that's some progress there. But this meeting was not without its fair share of tension.
At one point, Tiffany even made a motion to remove Tammy Brown from the warrant list, all because of the $619. It was like watching a reality TV show where the contestants vote each other off the island. Except this was real life. And the stakes were much higher than just winning a game. Tiffany was making it clear she wanted that money, and she wasn't backing down until she got it. And it wasn't just Tiffany who had people talking. The residents of Dolton were chiming in too. One fan comment summed it up perfectly. Sulu, let me get this right. Employees sitting around on the clock with nothing to do is another reason they're broke. Cut labor and send people home. Oof. That's a harsh take, but honestly, it seems like Tiffany's claims about the village's management are hitting a nerve with some folks.
Henyard's landlord showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments for months.
Another fan pointed out the irony of Tiffany crying over $619 when there are rumors swirling that she spent nearly $500,000 on her mom's driveway. Maybe they should have told her to pay back that damn near $500,000 she supposedly spent on her mom's driveway. The comment read, yikes. If that's true, it definitely puts her $619 plea into perspective. But let's not forget, this isn't the first time Tiffany's been in the hot seat. In fact, her entire tenure as mayor has been riddled with controversy. From allegations of misusing taxpayer funds to reports of lavish spending on parties and events, Tiffany's name has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And now, there's even talk of her facing eviction from her home. Can you believe it? The mayor of Dolton, who reportedly makes well over $300,000 a year, is allegedly being evicted for not paying rent. Her landlord, Janetta Hull, has been telling anyone who will listen that Tiffany and her boyfriend haven't paid rent since August, and she's had enough.
We talked to Tiffany Henyard's landlord, and she says she came to this Thornton Township meeting Tuesday night hoping to get paid what she says she's owed.
According to Hull, Tiffany and her boyfriend Kamal Wilkes owe more than $5,000 in back rent. And get this, they've even changed the locks on the house so the landlord can't get in. It's like something out of a bad movie. Hull said she's been trying to serve eviction papers, but Tiffany and Kamal have been dodging them. The whole thing is a mess, and it's just adding to Tiffany's long list of problems. But here's where things take an even crazier turn. Tiffany's not just facing eviction, she's also under federal investigation. Yep, the FBI has reportedly been looking into her spending habits, both as mayor of Dolton and as supervisor of Thornton Township. There are allegations that she's been using village funds for personal expenses, including luxury travel and fancy dinners. And let's not forget the infamous $43,000 she allegedly spent on Amazon in a single day. That's right, $43,000 on Amazon. What could she possibly have been buying?
It's a power grab. That's it. Power and money grab.
All of this has led to a growing movement in Dolton to oust Tiffany from office. Many residents are fed up with her leadership, and some are even calling her the worst mayor in America. Ouch. That's got to sting. But despite all the drama, Tiffany isn't backing down. In fact, she's already announced that she's running for re-election. Can you believe it? She's facing eviction, a federal investigation, and a village in financial crisis. But she's still ready to fight for another term. And that's the thing about Tiffany, she's a fighter. Love her or hate her, you've got to admit, she's not going down without a fight. Even as her critics pile on, calling her out for everything from her spending habits to her handling of village meetings, Tiffany remains defiant. She's promised to spill the tea on all the corruption she claims is happening in Dolton, and she's vowed to press charges against her political opponents. Whether or not she has any actual evidence to back up these claims remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, Dolton is in for a wild ride in the coming months.
I'm just here because I'm at wit's end, and I fear that I'm going to go into foreclosure soon if I can't get this matter handled.
So what's next for Tiffany? Will she manage to hold on to her position as mayor, or will the growing chorus of critics finally bring her down? And what about that $619? Will she ever get it back from Tammy Brown? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this is one story that's far from over. In the meantime, what do you all think? Is Tiffany just trying to do her job and getting unfairly criticized? Or is there something more shady going on behind the scenes? And what's the deal with that $619? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on the wild world of Dolton politics.